Hello, good afternoon everyone. Welcome here at the Health Ingredients exhibition and at the next innovation brief, this time about packaging innovation. I will first explain a little bit about us as the NVC. I'm Standhardt from the NVC. I'm the Manager Knowledge Development and Projects. And the NVC is an association of companies that deal with packaging in any imaginable way. We're a supply chain association, and our members come from the entire supply chain of packaged products, from the raw material suppliers, packaging producers, the packer fillers, retail, up to waste management, but also the machine builders, the test institutes, anything. Packaging designers. Just think of something that has to do with packaging and it might be part of us. We've been around since 1953, almost 60 years, so next year we have party. And you're all invited. We have about 550 member companies at the moment and 14,000 contacts in the field. Our main activities are information services, education and training, and serving the interests of our members, individually and collectively. Today it is about innovation with examples from our packaging innovation contest all the way from the beginning in 1958. We started that 5 years after our association started. First, I'd like to start with a short quiz question. And I don't know if anyone was here in my previous presentation. Nobody? Well, then nobody knows the answer yet. What is packaging? Anyone would like to tell me? Any ideas? I'm sure you have ideas. We're all experts in packaging. We use packaging every day. Approximately 7 times a day we open packaging. Right? Okay, I'll help you a little bit. We use the definition packaging is temporarily integrating a product and an external function in order to enable the use of the product. I'll give an example. I usually use the example of milk. You have milk, you have a pack. It temporarily becomes integrated into a pack of milk, goes through the supply chain, and at some point we decide to open the pack, drink the milk, separate them from each other, throw away the pack. So for a while it was one thing, one item, integrated, and we only need the pack because without the pack we cannot bring the milk from the milk producer. I don't know. Some people think it comes from a cow, but it does, yeah. And then it goes to a factory, they put it in a pack, but you have to hold it together, and that's one of the functions of packaging. You have to protect the milk, that's the second function, protect and conserve, and you have to put information on the milk. You want to know if it's full fat milk, half fat, or zero fat milk. So the information function is also important. What else is important to us as an association? Packaging is not just a thing, an item, a can. I see one there. But it is an activity. And in English, it is always difficult because in English, when people say packaging, they can mean either the item or the activity. For the item, we also have other words. We have pack, we have package. But when people talk about the packaging, they also mean the item. In Dutch, we have verpakking for the item and verpakken for the activity. German, verpackung, verpakken. French is difficult. And there are languages where they only have one word. But we focus on the activity of packaging. And within that activity, we have our packaging innovation contest. We started in 1958, so we've been doing that for a while already as well. More than 50 editions, more than 2,000 contestants through the years, and we have this year handed out the 99th Gouden Noot. So in 2 years, it's going to be a really big one, the 100th. We think that we are the most competitive, innovative packaging contest in the world. Why? Because we have 20 people in the jury from the entire supply chain of packaged products that judge for 3 full days all the entries that come in, and we have only one winner. We look at both consumer packaging and business-to-business packaging, so both the items we all use at home as the type of packaging that most of the people that have a stand here at Health Ingredients use to bring their ingredients to their customers. It is the Benelux packaging competition. We always do the kickoff in Brussels, and the final award we do in Utrecht. Well, this is the jury. I can walk through all of them. You see, there are really a lot of people in the jury from companies throughout the entire supply chain. Some of them could be here at this exhibition as exhibitors, some as visitors. And this is our trophy. Some people don't believe it, but it's a solid gold walnut in there. When we give away our award, we give away real gold. So why do we do this? Why do we think this is important? And why could it be important to you? We want to stimulate companies to innovate in packaging. We have to keep changing, we have to keep improving. And we know that because packaging is an activity that involves the entire supply chain, then in innovating, we need to involve the entire supply chain, and in our award, we need to involve the entire supply chain. And of course, we want to promote the Benelux a little bit in the rest of the world. So whoever wins, we promote them everywhere we go. So here as well. For you, I made an overview of innovation trends in packaging throughout the years that we have encountered in our packaging innovation contest. And not all of them are specifically for ingredients, but I want to encourage you to look through that. Some of them are, but all the innovation trends can be applied on ingredient packaging as well. And I believe some of them should really be applied more and more. So here we go. We start with the first edition. We still had to learn how to run the competition. We had 140 contestants, and we gave away 45 golden nuts. That's why we're already up to 99 by now. After 50-something years. 4 examples, I'll run through them. This was sent in as a flower bulb packaging. Does anyone recognize this packaging? Yeah? Courtney, you recognize it. What is it used for now? I didn't put the answer in yet, did I? It looks a lot like the Pringles packaging. You know, it's difficult to see with the picture. It's a cardboard tube with metal lids. It looks a lot like it, but it was already introduced for flowers in 1958. This, I don't know if you can see from the picture, was molded paper. Molded paper we all know from the egg packaging. And this was a new application form in household appliances. So application of an existing material in a new market. This one, why this innovation struck me is because my entire life this packaging has been there, and at some point it was new, and it's still the same. Now, I'm sure with a few small improvements, but it's almost the same. They changed the image, but at some point it was an innovation. And this one, also important, the 3-piece beverage can. Now let's see if there are anyone here around that's old enough to have drunk beer from a 3-piece beverage can. No, we're all 2-piece people. Well, here's the first, just to show that it's not all consumer packaging. First, business-to-business packaging. Lightweight, single-use barrel. They use the same system as for the cans we use now for fruits and vegetables. You know, they put the rims in for the strength, so you can use less material. Has been done in industrial packaging as well. 1964. 1972. Well, here's the two-piece. That's why I know. Almost everyone here is two-piece beverage can generation. From after that time. Another innovation in the beverage cans. I must say the metal packaging has been doing very well through the years and when it comes to innovation in both technology and in the closures. More material innovations. This is the plastic beer crate invented in this way by, or at least sent in by DSM. They did materials development on it. Now it's a common sight, but in 1974 it was new. Nice shaped box, cheese, Dutch from Leerdam. Actually tastes a bit French, but it has a special shape. This is branding not to the consumer, but to the cheese shops, the cheese sellers. Different shape and still used today for 32 years now. And this is a special application, a box in which you can pack live eels. So it has to be designed in a way that it does not leak. So you can see those flaps going in there. It's just folded in, there's no cuts. I don't know if it's nice for the eels, but they stay nice and fresh, so it's nice for us. Now, I put a cut here at 1985, right in between two editions, to have a look at what the trends were in those days in packaging innovation. And we see a lot of technical improvements. The beverage cans, the packaging for the live eels, that's also a bit making new product possible maybe, and the lightweight barrel. We also see new applications for existing materials. And last, and that's something that will stay, is products in new packaging forms, like the flower bulb packaging, and I don't know, maybe not too spectacular, the octagonal cheese box, but it's different than square, right? Now the next block is 1985 to 2010. You didn't see 2008 there. And we start with another beverage can. And I hope you're not getting bored with the beverage can, but the innovation here was the closure, or actually the ease of opening. And ease of opening is an important trend in consumer packaging, but I think it's also important for business-to-business packaging, because also for hygienic manufacturing, it's important that the customers of the ingredient suppliers can easily open the packaging without having to tear it and without damaging it, because otherwise you get material fibers in your mixture, that whatever you're making. So also for ingredients, very important. And this actually was an innovation where there was nothing you could throw away anymore from your closure. You couldn't pull anything off, throw it over your shoulder. That's the way it used to be before I was born. And now we still have the system that you open it and you don't automatically pull it off, but if you want, you can still pull it off. With this, you couldn't. But it was there for a couple of years and then it was gone again, I'm afraid. We're entering a new era in packaging innovation in 1994. And this was just too early for the packaging innovations wall, all the way in the other end of the hole, where at the bottom of the field you have some packaging innovations. But this was new yogurt packaging, and it was new because it had a different shape, which was logistically more efficient. Now, you can see that during those times that was very important, because the next one in 1979 was a square bottle. Also a material innovation, but square, logistically more efficient. And in 2000, it was a square can. You see the trend? This is also one of those innovations that did not really make it in the market. It's really nice, better shelf facing, material efficiency, logistic efficiency. But somewhere there was a barrier in the investments that you have to make to put the machine there that prohibited people from starting to use this. I think this is an example from a test market in the UK, but it didn't come any further than that. Now, in 2000, 2002, this is not logistically efficient. This is a different trend. And I'll come to the overview of trends again later. This is the Easycap. It's a milk cup, coffee milk cup, that makes it easier to open. Now, the easy to open feature that's in all the milk cups nowadays, but also easier to dispense, the harmonica shape. And back to business again. In 2004, we had a smart container or a hopper, the icon from then Bonar Plastics, nowadays Promens, that featured RFID inside to enable easy track and trace through the supply chain, better information supply. And of course, square again. But most industrial packaging that is rigid is square. 2006, another accessible design innovation, easy to open, easy to use. The one-to paint, a paint can of which you don't need to pour out the paint to be able to use it. You just open up the lid, click it, and then you can roll your paint on the lid, and when you close it, the paint you didn't use goes back in. Accessible design. And 2008 is microwave packaging that actually shields part of the energy. And you see it now on the market. There's an ice cream from Nestlé with ice cream in the tub, and at the bottom there's sauce. But the part with the ice cream is shielded, so if you put it in the microwave, your ice cream stays ice cold, your topping gets hot, and then you turn it over on your plate and you have ice cream with hot sauce on it, thanks to the packaging. This system, but originally it was invented to give a precise amount of energy to every meal component, so you can make high quality microwave meals. 2008, it looks like square is important. This is basically the plastic version of the square metal can, but with easy to open features. Not too easy to open because you don't want your paint to spill somewhere in the supply chain. Now, those were a lot of examples again. Here's an overview of the trends. I think it's clear. Logistic efficiency, especially in the late 80s, early 90s, was trend number one in packaging. It was in the time when the color modular system was promoted everywhere. People found it very important, and you can still see the effects of that nowadays. Accessible design is a definite trend that we see everywhere, and that will continue to grow. We are also all continuing to age. We're getting older. As on average, we're now in the second oldest country in the world. I'm not sure if you realize it, but Japan has the highest percentage of people that are over 60, and Germany is number 2 in the ranking. And all those people need someone to open their packaging for them, or they need packaging that is easier to open. The last one in the list is enabling new products. That's the microwave packaging that I showed. How does it go nowadays? In 2012, well, we had another 10 wonderful finalists. First one is the paper foam Easter egg packaging. It's, at first view, it might look very similar to normal egg packaging except for the shape, but it's also a different material. The material is paper foam, which is starch combined with some paper fibers, wood fibers, instead of what paper usually is, wood fibers with a little bit of starch. They claim the material is a lot more environmental friendly because you need a lot less water to go from raw material to packaging compared to paper. So you also need a lot less energy to get all the water out to get your final result. Well, next to that, some technical developments there in the design. Ease of opening again, an even easier to open can. with a system where the majority of all the people can put their finger under the thingy that you have to pull. And weight reduction, that's also important, 10%. This picture is also always a bit difficult on the PowerPoint presentation, but this one is also extremely difficult to explain. I'll just tell you, this is a system with a lid that is easier to open, that needs less material. And if you want to know more specific information about this, then it's better to come after the presentation to me, then I'll do my best to explain, but it's going to take too much time. This one, yeah, this is an important one. When it comes to the information function, it looks like a normal printed box, and with your eyes you will never see what's going on there, because you need a smartphone with the right app that can scan the code that is hidden on this packaging. And then that code will take you to the website of the brand owner, in this case to the joke of the day. It's meant for kids, kind of playful, let them explore the packaging and see what you can do with it. But it also has a very serious side of the application. They are working on making this available for your ingredient declaration, for giving more information about ingredients on your products. And of course you can make a game out of it and hide the code, and you will never see the code, but you can also make the code in a way that whenever you try to scan the packaging, you will scan the code, because it's everywhere on the packaging. That is possible. And they are actually working in Brussels on trying to enable advanced methods like this for information about the ingredients on your products. And there's new legislation that was published last year. We all have to comply to that in a couple of years. And this is one way where you need less space on your packaging instead of more, and you can give more information. The CocaCola plant bottle. I think I've seen some raw material suppliers that might make bottle material as well here in the exhibition. This is normal PET, but sourced partially from plants that live now instead of from plants that lived millions of years ago, like we usually do, namely oil. And this is an innovation, material innovation in itself, but also logistic innovation, because it was quite an achievement that they managed to roll it out worldwide in their supply chain for all their smaller bottles. I think they're still working on the bigger bottles. Easy scoop, well, ease of opening again, ease of use. I don't know if there's anyone with young children here, but if you used to buy a can of milk powder, you know, I don't have a can here, but the filling process goes like this. The top is sealed, the can is turned upside down, they throw in the scoop, they put the powder in, they seal the bottom, and they turn it back up again, then it goes in the truck, it goes, shakes a bit, the spoon goes down into the powder, and the parents have to dig for it in the night. That has changed with this. There are other solutions as well, I know that. But here the spoon has a separate compartment, so you never have to search for it. And even when it is closed, then when it is already opened, then you can put the spoon on top, and it will not fall in the powder. So ease of opening, ease of use. This one actually comes from the ingredients packaging, from the bulk packaging, the big bags. This the Gambo system is, as far as I know, a well-known system within the big bags. And they made a smaller version for it that can be made automatically. The big bag version is always handmade, hand-sealed. And it can stand on itself. You can stack it on top of each other. You don't need a box around it. And that's why it's an innovation. We're coming to the real prize winners, because up to now they were finalists. This is the bronze award. The bronze award went to DSM this year with their cheese ripening foil, Pack Age. It replaces the normal coating around cheese, helps the cheese to ripen without getting fungusy, so you don't need anti-fungus chemicals. and you never get a crust around it, so you don't have to take the crust off afterwards, and it doesn't even dry out on the edges, so you can use 100% of the cheese, and you use less plastic than with a normal cheese coating. So an innovation with higher quality, less environmental pressure. The silver, we're getting close to the end now, went to the Halo Pack, which is a new system for mostly cardboard-based packaging for fresh food, fresh and convenience food. Has a thin layer of plastic on top, which is laminated on it in a 3D shape, and then a top seal again to make it completely airtight. Entirely new system. Has some there have been people that tried it before to bring it to the market. And then our absolute winner, the Huck 1-2 open closure, already seen in United Kingdom as well on the jam and the marmalade. It's a two-piece closure, so it divides the forces that work on it, and almost anyone can open it. And with the old system, we all know it was difficult. 50 to 70% of the people were unable to open it without getting a piece of equipment to try and open it. So this is a great innovation. They worked on it for 8 years until it finally came to the market. It looks so simple, but of course it also had to be cheap, and it had to work on the packaging lines. Now, an overview of the trends in 2012. Accessible design is on top. We see it in many of the entries, many of the finalists, and the winner especially as well. Environmental benefits are still important, and they will stay important. And like I said in the beginning, new shapes, we can always do with new shapes, new presentation forms, because it sells when something is different. Now I put a little star around there. What about sustainability? I on purpose put environmental benefits here because sustainability is broader than just the environment, just the planet. It's also the people and the profit. And we think that sustainability is an integral part of innovation. And we usually talk about sustainable innovation. We think all innovation should have the focus on sustainability. If you don't do that right, then don't do it at all. That was what I wanted to tell all of you about packaging innovation. I hope that there are some interesting thoughts and there's some inspiration for you in the way you deal with packaging and the way you look at packaging innovation. I can tell you it can really leverage your business, create new opportunities, and it's a lot more than just cost. Then I thank you very much for your attention. And I hope you have a good exhibition.